Hi, this is James Gornbach Live here for book review. Today's book I'll be talking about today, Richard Laymon's The Stake. This was first published by Headline in the UK in 1990, then was published in the States in the following year by St. Martin's Press in 1991. This is the first time that I have completed reading a Richard Laymon book. Most of them I either I give up on them or I don't like them. This is the first one I've read through, and this was a very thick book. This thing's like 500 pages long. It took me quite a while to get through this book, and while it gets off to a good start, however, by the ending, it's let's just say it doesn't deliver what I expect it to be. I'll explain more later on in my review and some other things with this book I really didn't like, and a little few things I liked as well. All right, on to the review, and spoiler alert, as I will be giving away crucial details within the story. Plot. In the summer of 72, Charleston, Illinois, a man waiting inside his car for the right moment to kill a female vampire inside her home. It's almost dawn, fearing this vampire that nearly killed him with her sharp fingernails. The man drinks a bottle of liquor, puts a necklace of garlic cloves along with a silver cross, takes a briefcase, and exits his car. He enters inside the house as it's very old and looks untouched. He takes out a wooden stake and hammer from his briefcase. He finds the female vampire lying on her bed naked, moving slowly towards her as he tries to control his fears and sexual desires. Staring at her beautiful body causes him to drool, which lands on her arm, making her roll onto her back. Regaining his focus, he tries driving the stake through her back, but at the last second she moves her body, causing him to miss her heart. She shrieks as he tries smashing her face with his hammer, but it's useless against her. The female vampire rams her knee into his groin, then slams him hard onto the bed and finishes him off by ramming the stake into his eye. The story then jumps into the 90s in October as Larry Dunbar, traveling along with his wife Jen and their friends Pete and his wife Barbara in Pete's van, looking for a ghost town out in the desert, to help Larry come up with a new novel idea after suffering from writer's block. While exploring an abandoned town, Larry wants to check out a hotel, believing it might give him more ideas as he's already playing around with a horror novel based on this location. When they approach the hotel, they find all the windows are boarded up and the doors reinforced with padlocks. Both Pete and Larry bust through the wood boards blocking the entrance. Using their flashlights, they search around the hotel to going upstairs. While checking out a room, Barbara falls through the wooden floor, unable to pull her up. Pete goes down to help her, but calls the others to check out something he found. Larry and Jen hop down into the hidden room and find a coffin with a mummified body of a woman with a stake through her heart. Creeped out, they flee the hotel and return to Pete's van. During the drive back to LA, they all agree how strange it was that every other place wasn't boarded up, only the hotel, which brings the question, did they happen to stumble upon a crime scene? After Larry returns home, he tries to forget what he and the others found, but is unable to, feeling disturbed finding a corpse inside that abandoned hotel. While planning out a new novel idea of the box, Larry can't stop asking himself the same question over and over again. What would happen if he pulled out the stake out of the corpse? The next day, his wife Jen and their daughter Elaine leave to visit Jane's parents as Larry got a manuscript back from his UK publisher of Madhouse, as they have altered a lot of scenes and words as it would take him a full week to fix all these mistakes. Jane and Elaine won't be back till next week, giving Larry the house to himself. While visiting Pete and Barbara, telling him about his new novel idea about a man finds a jukebox, repairs it, which causes him to be sent back to the 60s, which prevents him from leaving and causes things to happen. Larry's main character thinks it's evil, but the jukebox wants him to save a pretty waitress from a gang of mean bikers who raped and killed her. While the couple likes the idea, and after a few drinks and staying up late watching horror movies, Pete wants to bring the jukebox back so Larry can use it for ideas. But Larry convinces him that taking pictures of it would be a better idea as the two leave in the middle of the night to reach the ghost town. While driving, Pete has another novel idea for Larry. Turn the corpse with the stake in his chest and loosely base it onto a true story, mixing both fiction and non-fiction. The two men discuss about it as Larry's skeptical of his friend's idea, believing it won't work. When they reach the ghost town, they find the jukebox, snap a few pictures of it, along with Larry posing beside it. They try lifting it, but it's too heavy, so they return back to the van. Pete tries again convincing Larry to help him carry the corpse inside the van and hide it to see if she's really a vampire. Larry is against this, stating she isn't a vampire, to which Pete replies, "You say we got a dud if we pulled the stake and she just lies there. Well, let's find out tonight if she's a vampire." However, Larry notices a few things out of place. First, animal bones along with the bloody remains of a coyote with its eyes missing. Next, the hotel door is repaired but not locked out, and the hole in the stairs has been covered up. Both men feared someone has returned and taken the body already, but after going down and checking, they find the corpse nor the stake hasn't been removed. As Pete snaps more photos of the hotel along with the corpse, he goes to remove the stake, but Larry threatens him with his own .357 Magnum. Pete stops as Larry feels sick for pointing a gun at his own friend, but the two forgive each other and agree to hide the body in Larry's garage. After waking up from a nightmare, Larry is unable to sleep nor get the vampire idea out of his head. He washes up and begins working on his nonfiction novel about the events of going to that ghost town while changing scenes around from what really happened. He writes 30 pages and tells Pete and Barbara that the good news that he's finally writing again. During the next night, Larry works away on his novel while heavily drinking, but stops when he begins mistyping his words and hits off to bed. The next morning, he wakes up lying inside his garage with the blanket covering the corpse now around him. He vomits in fear that he might have done something to the corpse while drunk last night. As he's cleaning up the mess and thinking of getting rid of the coffin in his garage, while he goes to place the blanket back on, he notices a golden ring. Larry removes it and discovers it's a high school ring. Engraved on it, Bonnie Saxton, Buford High School, 1968, which is the same high school his daughter Lane is going to. Later on, Pete swings by as the two discuss where to hide the body next. Larry suggests his garage attic as neither his wife or daughter will find it. As the two men get the coffin inside, Pete plans to record the event of pulling the stake out just before Larry finishes his vampire novel. He agrees to it and also plans to look up the ghost town along with Bonnie to see what Larry can dig up in '68. Larry gets his daughter to bring back a '68 yearbook from high school and cuts out all the photos featuring Bonnie Saxton and learns she was a very popular girl back in the day. Larry visits the library and makes a shocking discovery of the unsolved murders of 3 of Bonnie's friends along with their family members and the disappearance of Bonnie. Larry strongly believes Bonnie isn't a vampire. She's a murder victim and her killer is still out there. However, there is more in store for Larry and his daughter Lane. The stake gets off to a good start, and for once Richard Laymon isn't slamming his foot onto the accelerator on page 1, which I had issues of this with past novels by this author. While the pacing highly detailed and story structure was good, however, there is a bit too much filler which drags on scenes, making them too long. But what is the biggest disappointment with the stake was not much happens till the end of the story, and it wasn't anything scary or mind-blowing. I was hoping Richard would throw in some big nasty jump scares and more to excite me, but I never got any of that. All I got was 2 men who kept on planning to pull a stake out of a mummified woman to see if she was a vampire or not, as they went on for too long, which at times annoyed me. During the course of this novel, you learn of the serial killer early on who believes he's hunting down vampires who turns out to be some crazy man living out in the desert. Then Richard adds his usual rapists/killers into the mix, but it doesn't offer anything to interest me or increase the intensity during this story. While there were characters I didn't mind and others I disliked, especially the nasty ones, and I wish Richard would avoid using repeating names with his characters. This is the 3rd time I read a novel where a character is named Barbara. One thing I couldn't envision happening is Pete and Larry's idea of writing a non-fiction novel about finding a dead body out in the desert, believing they found a vampire that would become a worldwide bestseller that would rival the Amityville Horror, was something I found very hard to believe and couldn't picture it working out for the both of them. By the end of the stake, it was a huge letdown. Not much carnage or mayhem happens, very little violence and gore. While the ending does answer one burning question about the mummified body, however, I felt it could have been brought up so much sooner than waiting all the way towards the last few pages to answer said question. And a few common cliches happened, which most of them I saw before they even happened, along with a few off-screen kills I didn't like either. Lastly, this isn't a horror novel. It's a murder mystery with a tiny drop of supernatural, and that's it. No intense moments that will keep you on the edge of your seat, no bloodthirsty vampires or high body count. The stake fails to offer anything exciting. While I liked its pacing that wasn't rushed along with its detailed scenery, however, it fails to offer any shocking surprises or gruesome scenes. If Richard Lehman if Richard Laymon took out the unwanted filler, removed the second killer, it made some of the characters more likable, and had a vampire going on a wild killing spree, leaving a high body count, then I would have enjoyed it. Overall, I don't recommend The Stake. If you're looking for a good vampire novel, I'm sure you can find something better than this novel. And that is it for the review today. And as I said, I did not enjoy this book. This was a really huge letdown. I was really expecting this to be a really good, like, horror vampire novel, and I didn't get that with The Stake. It's a basically it's a murder mystery that's a slow burn to get through. When I started reading it, it has the prologue, which is set in '72. But then when it goes to chapter one, it doesn't state what year it is. So I was thinking, okay, so it goes from the past to the present, right? And the present being the 1990s. That's because that's when this book was published in. So I wasn't sure, so I looked up reviews to see if people explained, yes, this book goes from the '70s to '90s, and that was kind of a mistake because people gave away some crucial detail of things that happen in the story. So then when people said that there's really no vampires in the book, it's just the author playing with this theme throughout the novel. Like the characters, when they find this mummified body out in the desert, he plays with the idea: is it a vampire, is it not? And this thing just kept going back and forth until finally the burning question is finally answered towards the end of this novel, which I really felt it could have been answered so much sooner, and this was a huge letdown. I was expecting mayhem, carnage, and a vampire going on a like bloody killing spree. I didn't get any of that, and I'm really disappointed. And this is the first Richard Laymon book that I've actually completed reading through. Most Richard Laymon books that I have read, I never could finish them. I got halfway through them and basically didn't like them, put them down, and yeah, this is the first time I got through a full Richard Laymon book, and it was just a huge disappointment. I'm really bummed out by this book. Um, However, there are some other books by this author I would like to check out and a few rereads. So I'm not giving up yet on Richard Laymon. I'm still hoping to find at least a few books by this author that I'll hopefully like, and check out his other short stories, because I really did enjoy the short story The Tub from the Hotter Blood More Tales of Exotic Horror collection, which I really enjoyed. That Tub story, it was really good. Um, and the funny thing too about The Stake is that sometimes when I read books, there's like author characters, and sometimes the authors will go in detail about the book they're writing, which I do like when they do that. And there's a book that the author Larry is working on, which sounded a lot better than the Stephen King's 11/22/63, which was by far King's worst book ever. I thought the book sounds way better, and I really wish Richard Laymon wrote the box, so he would have had a novel within the novel. That would have been fun if he did that, but sadly he didn't do that. And it's a shame too, because I was just imagining more of the box than the steak when I was reading this book. The author Larry, who is actually heavily based off of Richard Laymon himself. Yet the character he pokes a little. Um, Richard Laymon mentions a few things in the book that the author is going through, which is things that Richard Laymon went through, like The Cellar was his like big hit book, and then when he published The Woods Are Dark, which the publisher heavily edited, and it kind of hindered his author career for a while, which Larry in The Stake has the same thing happen to him. So that was kind of a nice. I like that. That was nice. All right. That's it for the review today. I hope you all enjoyed it. And after the Stake, I will then begin reading Manhattan Transfer by Johnny Sif. I am looking forward to reading this science fiction book, one of my favorites. And look at that beautiful cover artwork. It's just amazing. Then, after I'm done The Stake, I decided to change up my next book, because originally I was going to go to Razorback next, but after a viewer was asking me what's the next horror book I'm reading, I thought, you know what? After reading two bad horror books, I need a good one. So for that, after Manhattan Transfer, I'll be reading Sean Hudson's Chainsaw Terror, one of his rare obscure novels, and this is a really good like horror book. if you ever wanted like a 80s slasher like paperback, this is the closest thing you can get to it. And another book I heard is that's also similar to 80s slasher films, which I like to check out. Joyride, it's called. But I'm looking forward to reading this too. This was a really good book, and this book has a very interesting and history about its publication and the things that Sean Hudson had planned for this novel, which I'll explain later on in my Chainsaw Terror review. All right. That's it for the review today. If you enjoyed it, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group with the same name, a place you can post, share, and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.